But to me, this speaks that they have priority on the pick. They're not necessarily scared of the champions that Shag will be able to pick into it, and they're potentially confident in their ability to handshake this Corki Azir matchup. If that is what Misfits may choose to go for, it is. This speaks to me that Saken's confident in his ability not only in the matchup but also against Shayak.
Yeah, certainly. I think, like I said, this one's slightly more Azir favoured early, and then Corki, of course, does different things to the Azir in the late stages of the game. One more poke oriented, much more DPS focused. Likely going to see at least some matching of the bot lane here. We see Misfits Premier haven't yet elected to take a jungler, and weirdly enough, with Trundle not actually banned against Zanzara, doesn't elect to take it. 113, excuse me, Hantera going to default back to the Rakan. This is the Rakan Jarvan combo that we've seen from Karmine Corp several times already so far. And they're just going to default back to what they do best. Top side aggression. They've got Misfortune and Ezreal still, Misfortune still available because Ezreal's been taken by Misfits Premier. That seems like a Karmine Corp pick that they want to go for here if they can set
Poppy,
Reckless up.
Poppy ban here, me speaks that they maybe want to try and get a Camille topside for Cabo Shard. I think it's pretty decent into the champions that have been drafted so far by Misfits Premier. I think Misfits Premier might miss a trick here and not get rid of it, and that might gear us up for it on 4, potentially on 5 as well. I think they probably want to take it on 4. If they're confident playing the blind matchup, they don't think that Catskos has many responses. Gangplank's still available. Important to note as well. Catskos' most played champion when he played back in LVP. But yeah, final
It's worth
ban.
saying that, if they take this on 4, that is a massive statement because they can match ADC here and really not have an issue. They are going to take it blind when they have the answer of taking something with complete information. Right, they see the Ezreal Yumi here, they can match ADCs and say, okay, we know what sort of laning phase we're going for, and we can give Cabo his pick of the litter in terms of top laners. I think it's a great point that you bring up, right? Things like the Camille, like the Tryndamere, which also got buffed on this patch, something that we may well see Cabo Shard opt into, the Jace even. Not necessarily a bad pick not necessarily a bad pick when you've got Poppy banned away. So there are plenty of options for Karmine Corp. I do think they should hold it though and just take Reckless's pick here. We've seen him play the Misfortune before. It pairs nicely with the quickness plus Cataclysm combo. Granted, Jarvan not the greatest versus the Ezreal Corki because they both have ways to get out of it, but I still think it's got that oodles of possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. And pretty remiss of me. I thought that I didn't realize they hadn't locked in the AD carry earlier, so I did think that they might play for a different R5 than they had. But yeah, I think like you're saying, MF makes a lot of sense here in terms of your blind. You can play for that R5. I think now Misfits may have to really consider, like you're saying, the Tryndamere, the Camille as well. I think would be pretty good this game. And it's going to have to be a showed matchup. We didn't even touch on this. This is the first time that Trundle.
I did.
This is the first time that Trundle's not been banned against
And
Misfits
he
Premier.
picks it.
And they do take it, yeah.
I was incredibly surprised, right? I saw it not banned in the first phase, and I was kind of thinking, well, they can answer with Corki, or they can, take this Trundle quickly. But Karmine Corp saying you can have your Trundle, right? We simply don't care. This is a pick that, you can have, and we're going to beat you with it anyway. Now we get to see what that blind pick top laner is. They could probably do with a bit more of a tanky front line, but I would have liked to see a bruiser. This Gnar here certainly fits the brief for me. We've seen Cabochard play Aurelia already, but it's banned away this time around. I really like the ban from Misfits Premier to set them up for this Aurelia, or set them up for this Gnar pick, because they know that this is what was going to happen. And last week, I mentioned it last week, right, that this Aurelia game is really important because it sets a precedent for weeks going on. And this week right here, it's drawn a ban away from Misfits Premier in this second phase. Cabo, we've seen Jace as an answer to the Gnar time and time again. Going to be, yeah, there we go, locked on in. Really good stuff to see. This is just Karmine Corp in a nutshell, it feels like.
Yeah, I think makes a lot of sense here in terms of you talk about the matchup here. Would have liked to see my Camille, but I think as soon as that Gnar gets locked in, it's a little bit more dubious in terms of, I think it's a little bit more of an even matchup. I think taking your Jace here makes a lot more sense, gives you a bit more range as well in terms of your composition, gives you a little bit more poke to offer in response to that Corki. But Zanzara's gotten his Trundle here, and it's been banned out every single game against him. And, he's known for the champion. I don't really rate the champion very highly, but obviously teams rate him specifically on the champion. It's very much a case of, can he justify the pick here?
Yeah, there's a lot of instances, right? Do you remember we're back from the UK days, right? There was a top laner, Icy Gale, whose Rengar got banned every single game. They let it through one game in Division 2.
Yeah,
and what, sorry?
It was Div 2, yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah, Div 2, right? And it got beat, didn't it? It was like, we've banned it so many times, but it just
I think a more prominent example is, you want to talk about NLC Div 1. It was the kind of one of the first games that X7 played this split, obviously on the back of Haru being sold over to Vitality. They've got MC in, who is known for being like a very, 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 very good Nidalee player, one of the best on the server. And the team they were playing against, I believe it was Riddle, I want to say, threw down the gauntlet of saying, yeah, we'll let you have Nidalee. And then they just drafted around it and just, completely won the game. Do you think that is the case here? Do Karmine Corp
No,
have the tools?
Trundle is not Nidalee. I don't think that's the case.
No, well, obviously not. You were smiling before that, so I knew something stupid was coming. But do you think that Karmine Corp has answers for this Trundle?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Karmine Corp don't care about the Trundle. I think that they could have had MC on Nidalee this game and they'd have drafted the exact same way. This is like, they've said this is your one pick. You can have it. They've sort of thrown it down their own way and said, we're confident in our own style. Like I said going in, right? This is just Karmine Corp's draft. This is them exclusively playing the champs that they usually play.
Yeah, I think that's completely the case. Anyway, I'm hoping that we can even match 10% of the energy that's erupting from that stadium, but you'll just have to wait and see. We're going to be going into the game rather shortly. Don't go anywhere.
And we are back on to the Rift, the final game of the first day of Super Week. 3 days long is the 4th week of LFL. We are here on the Northern Arena channel bringing you the English coverage of Misfits Premier versus Karmine Corp. Started out this season with 1 record, looking to turn it to a 6-1 after this game. Drafted themselves, I feel like, maybe the most Karmine Corp draft that we could have ever seen. Outside of Ezreal potentially getting through to Reckless, this is about as good as it gets for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think pretty typical stuff. We see the Java and we see the Rakan. I think that's really your 2 central points you want to point towards every time you see a Karmine Corp. Even with the nameplates off, you can go, yeah, probably Karmine Corp if we're talking about the LFL. But in response, I think the same can be said for that Trundle. Not really many people playing that beyond Zanzara. It offers a little bit of utility for their composition here. Going to give a lot of space creation for them in terms of if the Java goes in, if the Azir goes in as well, and the Rakan. It's all about what he can get done in this early game. It's a good spot for his champion, and he's known for playing it.
First strike, Jarvan, as well, I want to quickly point out. I've not seen that yet, ever. But keep your eyes on 113 to see how much first strike value he's going to get. I think that they're expecting this to be fairly early game dominant. Like I say, they took this matchup of Corki and Azir. They wanted the Azir in this one and sort of said, hey, we'll take this quickly. Cabo already finding fights against catch costs. Yeah, walked down very early on and has done a very good job at utilizing it.
Yeah, it's a great little trade there from Cabo. Goes in rather aggressively, gets that Q autos, just to extend the further advantage he gets from the added little bit of bullying out in terms of rotating between those 2 forms. You can see him if he lands that Q as well. We're getting to crucial damage being dished out onto Kaskos.
Both junglers starting down on this bot side, so they will be able to impact the top lane at the end of their clears. You can see Zanzara skipping out on his Krug camp, a notoriously slow camp for the Trundle. Hopefully he can make his way back over to, hopefully he can get up to that top side and have that large impact in the laning phase very early on. Could go for the 3 camp. This is the fast level 3 with red buff. Cabo's ward's not down. Could be careful.
Goes on to Wu. Like, he might have to flash here. Does burn the barrier, though. It's the only summon that is burnt there in that quick little exchange. Ignite. Down from Antera is going to mean that Karmine Corp find a little bit of an advantage in this bot lane, pushing their wave in. It's going to be a relatively isolated matchup for the first couple minutes as both junglers have played towards that top side. 113 going to be spotting out this blue buff in a few seconds or so.
Oh, and he's just invading on this, right? This is Jarvan in a nutshell, right? First strike.
No E from 113. He might have to flash here if he can't get a Q out here. This doesn't quite come to help yet. He is going to have to flash. Flash forward, and Zanzara finds your first blood here. Abashov was too focused on getting the wave in here. Zanzara takes it with the E-burn from 113. So are 113's chances of getting that blue buff.
Well, there we go. You give Zanzara a Trundle. I don't know that that's necessarily a product of giving the Trundle over, and more so just blatant disrespect from 113. Holds his flash for so long there. He's trying to wait on the E cooldown to get out to safety. Cabo doesn't want to roam either. He's like, nah, lad, you're on your own. You've done that to yourself. And I mean, he falls for first blood. The Jarvan here certainly struggling to get that ball rolling. I was gonna commend him rather for the pathing, skipping his topside camps to shepherd Cabochard on that crash, but ultimately threw away his life there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thrown to the wayside was 113's corpse there. As unfortunately, he's not able to find that blue buff, as you've aforementioned, but the ramifications this might have going forward for me are in terms of getting that early spike on the Trundle towards getting some items, maybe being able to have alleviate a little bit more pressure in these lanes, and then build towards this late game for Misfits Premier, because you can get this Ezreal Yuumi out of lane, get towards the items, and get this Corki up. Don't lose too much in terms of these objectives. If you can beat Karmine Corp in the early game, which is the point in which they are looking to be strongest as a team identity, don't get me wrong, they do have scaling options. I feel like it's a big victory for Misfits Premier.
Yeah, that's a great point. The thing being here that, you know, Karmine Corp have got the Jace, have got the Azir, Miss Fortune as well in the late game, can do very good damage. And I feel like we're just deja vuing down on this bot side. I feel like I've seen that exact same interaction at least 3 times already.
Yeah, absolutely. But
the scaling aspect's certainly there for Karmine Corp with the Azir, MF, and the Jace. All 3 of these laners do dish out substantial damage, where looking at the Misfits Premier squad, and we saw, I think in game number 2 or 3, the lack of consistent damage that you can find with an Ezreal. Chayek, though, on the Corki, going to be a monster regardless.
yeah, absolutely. You just keep seeing it be the case time and time again. This Corki does ramp up. He's able to find a lot in these team fights. 1-1-3. Debating whether or not to go in here. Notice Wulite does have that flash. Zanzara might be getting a little bit caught out here. And Tara flashes forward. Zanzara doesn't have flash.
Wow.
And just as soon as he's got an advantage, he takes a step too far forward, and he's going to get taken out there. And Karmine Corp bounce back.
And they're going to freeze this wave as well, it looks like. If Pantera can stop this recall as well. Got the Q, but not enough damage there, and that, I think that sort of decides how they want to play out the lane then from there. They start pushing as soon as they recognize that they haven't got the interrupt, and really good pathing from 113 once again. Got to commend that he's always in the right spot at the right time. You know, the first time round he was in the right spot, got a little bit too overzealous, got taken down. This time he's in the correct spot again to counter Zanzara, and this time they take down the Trundle in the jungle. Picking up the return kill, the reciprocal from 113. Certainly there, and quite nice for Karmine Corp to get a kill on the bot lane. Granted, it's onto Hantera, and now Zanzara back into this top lane. Just to clear a ward.
It's just here for a ward. The wave not really in a position whereby too much can be capitalized on. Cabochard obviously having that EQ, going to be able to fish out any minions that he particularly needs for himself, but is wary of that Mega Gnar pending. Has the mental resilience to stop himself from going too far forward.
I have been reliably informed, though, by Wild Riftcaster Superstar Out the Battery that First Strike Jarvan is actually very popular in LEC Spring. Seiken goes for the swoop, not going to find it. But the First Strike Jarvan tech is actually something that is not just piloted by 113. It's been very popular. They tend to go for something a little bit more adverse in the build path secondary. You know,
Malrang plays this quite a lot. You go First Strike, you go for a chem tank, generally speaking. It's pretty much the build that you go. It's interesting, so to say the least. But pretty standard, I think. 2 options you go. See a lot of people pivoting towards that First Strike Jarvan, though, with the tank setup. Means you can just get in, take a lot of damage, not necessarily looking to do too much damage. The damage profile is very much there for Karmine Corp, that he doesn't need to make up for that.
And so far with the early death as well, that really does sort of lead into, right, okay, I'm definitely not the carry this game. Certainly going to be playing that Robin aspect as opposed to the Batman in the duo. Kashkos gets bullied out off of that cannon creep, did secure it, but not gonna have the best end of that trade overall. You can see already working toward those plated steel caps. Going to have a lot of value in that top lane. He's in a 2 versus 2 in the mid jungle. He's got 2 AD champions wailing away on him. Plated steel cap's going to go very well in hand. 113 making his way into the mid lane, but Chayek not quite in a position to get ganked. May have actually just dodged the timing here, and they could wait for this, but 113 actually going to show himself on the wave and not get caught in the brush.
The game has started to slow.
For the Herald here, you know, you can see Reckless, Hantera both making their way up here, sort of making their intentions felt very early on, and just saying, hey, you know what, we know that you know that we're doing this, but what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, completely. And I think 113 and Hantera is pretty standard affiliation from them, that they walk up towards this Herald around the 8-minute mark. Zanzara has something to say about it, though. Tries to stop out 113. 113 does have that flash, but for now, They found position on this. It could come down to a smite fight. Ezreal and Yumi are walking up as well just to help with that mid wave. Premier fully out. Come on, quicker.
Really bad timing from 113 and Reckless and Seiken. All of the Karmine Corp sort of laners versus the supporting cast were doing completely different things. Seiken and Cabo wanted to get their resets off, spend some gold, where Hantera and 113 are trying to take it. It was a good attempt. I think that was probably their window to try and go for it, but they've reset back out onto the bot side of the map, and now that they've got those resets in, they should be stronger for the fight that is going to come if there's a contest by Misfits Premier down in the bot side. My expectation is that this Drake just gets given over, just gets seeded. Although we end up seeing a dive. Reckless is level 6, Hantera as well. Zanzara's here to counter though.
We definitely could see that unfold. 1-3 is going to get spotted out here. He has flash available, but it's going to be difficult for him to get out unless he flashes, which he does, and the dive is dissuaded by Misfits Premier. Not able to get as much as Karmine Corp. Pushing in this mid wave now, and you do expect it to be the case with both teams backing off. 113 retreating back into his jungle. Still questions to be answered about who will be taking that first dragon of the game.
Feels like both of these junglers are just reading one another, and it's whoever makes the play ends up getting punished for it. You know, they're just waiting for one jungler to go forth, and then the other one steps in and says, actually, I'm the one who's controlling this play, thank you very much. That dive was never really going to come to fruition. Seiken spent a little bit of time taking the mid wave, pushing it in, but Chayek had TP the whole time, instead extends it back to the mid lane when he knows that there's no dive to come through. And something that we did see from Seiken last time, and I expect to start stepping up again a little bit more, was his ability to take jungle camps, deny 113, and you can see 2-level lead already between the jungle and the mid duo. That could well be the case once again.
It's definitely not been able to build too much of a lead thus far, but whether or not that becomes the case as we move into the 20-minute mark, we saw Seiken move towards those 11, 12 CS numbers in a previous game, like you're saying, Rude Dude. But not necessarily 113 skipping out on all our camps. He's more falling behind in tempo due to the previous play. It's not that he's sacking those camps, it's more that they're just not being taken.
Of course, you know, at that pace, at that sort of notion, more so than anything else, it lends itself toward 113 being this, you know, matching pace for pace on Zanzara. We knew that Zanzara was going to be this fairly gank-oriented, wanting to help snowball the team's style of play, and thus far, 113 has largely matched it, right? You can see both of the junglers each, one death apiece, the only two members to have died this game. One for each of the junglers of either team. So they're in the right spots, they're in the thick of the action. Also, just we need to see somebody really come out on top, like you say. That Drake's still up for contention.
Aura goes in there, but can't quite much. Dragon is still to play for. Chayek coming out onto the map now with that package speaks to me that Misfits Premier fancy their chances here. They might try and get the mid priority, really Seiken out of there and try and get a fight here.
Big spikes for the top or for the mid jungle for Misfits Premier. They've got that Mana Moon completed. They've got the Divine Sunderer as well. But in terms of bot lane, it is Reckless oriented. Eclipse and Tia versus just the components of a Sheen item plus Mana Moon are certainly not going to go their way. Mid lane, they're just looking to bully out. Package ready, Herald down. We'll see a fight if they don't go too far.
Yeah, disappointing for me for Misfits Premier here that looked like they had intentions of going towards that dragon but never really able to find it. 113. Kind of stun. He takes quite a lot of damage here. He might go down. One more auto attack. Not going to quite do it. W is found. Seiken takes a lot of damage as well. Fully 3v2 off the turret here. Zora's off to the side here. Tries to find Hantera maybe. Going to go over the wall here. Zora's in the face. Use the quickness to get away here. Going to be using it to counter engage. Ignite comes down onto Zanzara. Reckless is coming in. Reckless has heal and flash, but doesn't go forward for it. The case that teleport back into the mid lane from Seiken, and not much given by both sides, but you almost feel as if Misfits Premier a little bit indecisive in what they wanted to do there. Package was granted to them.
Lots of sequential plays there that had large ramifications on what happened after. A 2v3 that was largely Misfits Premier favoured resulted in Zanzara being able to go forward. Reckless was in a 1v2 bot lane. He had to use bullet time on a wave to make sure that he didn't lose too much. We then also saw the invade come through from Zanzara. He gets caught out. They use Ignite, but there's no damage to come through from Reckless. Yes, he's got this Eclipse, but he doesn't have enough consistent DPS take down a Trundle at this stage in the game. So they catch the Trundle lacking a little bit, unfortunately unable to fully capitalize on it because that 2v3 in the mid lane went so well. Now that these resets have come through and everybody's reset back out onto the map, we can see the advantage largely goes the way of Karmine Corp because they got themselves the dragon, they didn't lose the mid tier 1 turret, and you know, overall, obviously fairly beneficial for them. Catch cost now.
Tries to find Abashard against the wall here, but he's going to be getting pinned up almost in a second or so. Hantera tries to find the engage. Kaskos dives out a little bit here. Not going to be getting caught up too much here by the rotating support. Karmine Corp is catching this wave here. Yeah, lull in action for a second or so.
And whenever there's a Yuumi picked, we always like to, you know, keep track where the Yuumi is. Currently found a home on Chayek. You know, making at least sure that he's able to keep his mid lane turret in a good spot and make sure that that wave is certainly coming through. But I spent the majority of this game on Woolite, spent the most part making sure that he's not too dissuaded to take 1v2 situations. But TP back in.
No Mega here. Has Flash available, but Hantera makes it a very easy deal here as Kaskos does E away here, but going to get taken out by Cabochard. Simple routine job from Karmine Corp, seen it a million times before. Seiken finds the WQE, little combo exit. Misfits Premier don't have a response.
And Reckless is in the mid lane as well to get this wave and make sure that they're not losing out. He actually gets the shove in and can run back down to the bot side in time for the push in from Woolite. Catches 2 waves in 1 here. So he's going to be very well poised to, you know, make sure that he's accelerating himself level 10 to level 9 for Woolite, largely just because of the experience shared between both Vander and Woolite of that bot lane thus far. But Reckless doing a very good job at picking up these waves, making sure that he's okay. Something that we've praised him for time and time again is constantly getting that farm. This is Premier. They lose one on the top side, but interestingly enough, secure themselves this Herald, it looks like. Smite plus I combo is enough for Zanzara to smite it down from 2k HP, and they get away with that. They're likely going to be able to break open that tier 1 turret with that when they decide to go for it. They can try and put it elsewhere and maybe break open something different for themselves.
Yeah, I'm expecting it to be the plan very much. They open up through the mid lane, then they can therefore get a bit more space to work with. I don't think it's necessarily going to be the case that they're able to punish from the flank and utilize the open space too much, but I think it's more at the detriment of Karmine Corp rather than the advantage of Misfits Premier, especially building towards these future dragons that we've seen them have hesitation in this game so far. It's difficult for them to get into that area. We spoke earlier in the game, Rude, dude, how important it is that Misfits Premier just survive long enough to get towards this later stage in the game, and they don't lose too much.
Scaling certainly something we're hoping that Misfits Premier will be able to execute on. Herald down in the mid lane is putting gold in Chayek's pocket. This mid tier 1 will fall. The charge is enough. And now Seiken's home, his solace has been removed. Going to be a little bit more hard pressed to get that.
Shard trying to fish for Kaskos here. Doesn't have that flesh available. It's going to be a W slow. It's going to be another kill for Cabochard. And Kaskos is really feeling the sins that have been provided by the map setup. Zanzara tries to find the cross-map play here, but Terra and Reckless wiser to it. He's zoning them off here, trying to build towards their second tier 1 of the game.
Going. Escape tool's not available for Hantera right now, but Reckless level 11. Bullet time. Mark 2 is ready. TP's available for Cabo as well. If they try and get too aggressive on this bot side, they could look to answer.
Seiken's almost found his teleport as well. 1-3. They're going to stop them from taking the tier 1 for now, but whether or not the engage will come.
Behind.
Double TP is coming from behind. 113 has an ultimate. He has been used by Woolite. That's going to be the bullet time onto it. That's Cabochard on a killing spree. Who more can he find? He's going to get Yuumi as well. It's 2 kills for Karmine Corp. And they're going to get the dragon as well.
Beautiful from Karmine Corp. They use that deep vision behind the dragon pit to get 2 members in behind and secure themselves 2 kills plus a dragon. Really good play overall. Karmine Corp setting that one up long time in advance, waiting ready to go to get themselves those extra couple freebies. The turret falls, the Drake falls, and now Karmine Corp starting to extend on the map, starting to flex themselves a little bit here. It took them 15 minutes, but they've really started to come alive. 2 item spike for Cabo. He's not yet completed that Muramana, but with the Mana Moon stacking up nice and quickly, you imagine that one's going to be ready in not too short a time at all. Zanzara and Woolite just a little too far forward. 113 knows all he has to do is just burn the dash of Woolite. Flash comes through just a little too early, and Cabochard with the shot from downtown takes him out. Got to credit Vander here for taking off and getting off of Zanzara, making sure that you know, he's the sacrificial little cat right there, as opposed to trying to stay on Zanzara and, you know, making him the lead focus and then potentially losing 3 people in exchange for, well, essentially nothing. But good little presence of mind to cut your losses as opposed to really max them out.
Yeah, Misfits Premier are going to have to cut a lot of losses this game. They are falling behind at a rapid pace now. Karmine Corp, 4,000 or so gold lead with 2 dragons stacking. Pressure is mounting. Obviously, that mid lane turret earlier for Misfits Premier, we spoke about how we were hoping that would open the map for them. But a book has been closed for Yuumi and Misfits Premier as the 2 tier 1 turrets in both side lanes have been taken. And this means that Karmine Corp are mounting forward and forward. In the side lane here can be getting pressured more and more so as Cabochard builds toward his Muramana being completed.
I mean, 10 auto attacks away, right? 10 spell casts.
The
ganky
flash.
top again.
Mega Gnar can be found in a few seconds or so, whether or not he can do much with it. Flash also as well available soon. It is being tanked up. EQ from behind. Can a 1-for-1 be found? Not quite. Hantera not going to get taken up by one more turret shot there, and it's a pretty disastrous set of affairs for Catskos. It continues to be a theme this game that he's continually fought out in these dive setups. The map state not really beneficial for him. And Karmine Corp continue to balloon their lead.
Love that from Hantera. Not caught slacking there, waiting to see where the Ezreal ult was coming from. Will I had to try and rack that one up, was using the Qs on the wave to do so. But good play by Casey once again in that top side, punishing Catskos, welcoming him to the LFL in the only way that Karmine Corp know how, and it's with a good old top camp. 3 times he's been dove under that turret, and well, first time he's been dove under that turret specifically, 3rd time he's been dove top lane underneath some turrets. Reckless could go for a play here. He's got 113 spotted on vision though, and you know, gonna opt for the make it rain.
He's spotted here, but Hantera's gonna find it. That's the charm, and that's the charm that we know them for. Karmine Corp at the drop of a hat find the engage in the mid lane. They do get Wu Light. He's caught lacking.
Oh, 113. He's loving life. He EQs forward. He acts as a taxi for Hantera. That's his only job. Doesn't even need Cataclysm.
Wall now. Catskos is going to try and find a Mega Knight. He has flash here. 2 into the wall now. It's going to mean that it's a kill for Corki. Can they get the double kill over to him? They're not quite. Zanzara is going to get in response.
Baron?
And Baron is up. 20 minutes and 30 seconds. We're in. It's 1-1-3 and Hantera down. Now Saken and Reckless need to move up here. But Misfits Premier, they hold their horses. They hold the stable. Game is not stable in any way, but Reckless doesn't have flash here. He can get taken out here if Zanzara's not able to find him. The burning sensation is found there, and it's another 2 kills. Karmine Corp are routed. They get confused from the end of the last play. 2 members go down. They think the Baron is there. They have time to move in the mid lane, but they actually just get engaged on. It's 3 members down here. 2 people are going to be up here to try and save it. EQs from Cabochard rattling off to the side will be your answer here if there is any. Rakan trying to come in here off to the side, doesn't have the quickness available. Baron has gone down to 2K now. It's going to be Zanzara taking it. 1-1-3's trying to find his way in here. They've engaged onto Cabochard. They're trying to find him. They get him here. They walk out with a Baron plus a kill. And rude dude, the game has been thrown back into Misfits Premier's favour.
It's an absolute disaster. Karmine Corp hand Misfits Premier the game on a platter here. They have just handed over 3, 4, maybe 5 kills in that whole exchange, plus the Baron. Now priority potentially on the Dragon as well. The win condition that Karmine Corp love to set up for themselves. It's going to be difficult for Misfits Premier to, you know, completely just take the game from here. They've still got a lot of work to do. But this game is looking 10 times better than it was a minute ago.
Absolutely, just able to capitalize on these small margins of error that Karmine Corp have been prone to somewhat in their games. We've seen them make these small mistakes that can somewhat balloon. In a game previously with 1-1-3 on, I believe it was the Viega, we saw him continually get caught out in these exchanges and then luckily make up for it later with a Baron steal. It is now the case that continual mistakes are being made by the Karmine Corp unit. And whether or not it continues to pervade the circumstances of the game, we have yet to see. The Dragon is being taken quite low here. 2K, Zanzara's in the pit. Bullet time's not hit many, but Zanzara comes up big with a steal here. One person's going to get taken down. Do they fancy their chances? Wulite has to go in if he's going to get anything. Karmine Corp are low, but Yuumi is healing. Wulite with an ultimate here. It's going to almost hit Hantera. Whizzes past his ear there as he feels the bullet of that Ezreal ult. Almost hit him there. There's a kill in response for Karmine Corp, but a Dragon acquiesced that gold advantage and that Dragon lead that had been built by Karmine Corp and this game is delivering.
Truly a really important Drake steal right there. Misfits Premier get themselves the dragon and deny Karmine Corp's soul point. It's a Hextech soul, remember, and they're going right into them.
They're going right into them. Shyek's going to find his way out of there, but not going to be too much of an advantage gleamed by Karmine Corp. It's a tier 1 turret that they are taking. Misfits Premier as they continue to just equal out that equidistant point. We felt like they were so far from being able to challenge Karmine Corp. We're out of the early game now, and Misfits Premier are looking decent.
This could well be the biggest upset that we have today. 2-5 is what Misfits Premier are staring down the barrel of if they can convert this lead. The gold is 500 in Misfits Premier's favor off the back of that top tier 1 falling. This game in terms of gold is still incredibly close, and we touched on the scaling aspects of both teams. Vander is playing Yumi. Will be able to get to safety. He's chilling, he has a friend nearby. He's not too concerned, and 113 largely alone. But in that dragon fight, Jake, it's important to remember that we got to see what both of these teams are bringing to the table. 113's bullet time, Karmine Corp and Reckless's bullet time does damage. But if it's only onto one person, it doesn't net them a teamfight win. They're able to take down Zanzara, but that was it. Chayek and Woolite were constantly pumping out DPS from the backline, rocket after rocket, mystic shot after mystic shot. Were tearing the health bars of the front line of KC down. It was a weird dynamic when they were walking away. Pantera and 113 needing to be shepherded away by their 3 carries, the 3 that don't necessarily want to be blocking skill shots, but had to be in that case. We get to see what both team comps can do around that Drake, and we get to see it more again. No Drake's up for a few minutes time, but we get this Aram now to see if any fights come through.
In EQ, 113's in, but what can he find? Not much, so far, so few. A lot does come out. 1-3 and Karmine Corp that have fired a trigger here, but not found too much as their turret does go down.
And these long engagements are so good for Misfits. They've got the Yumi, so any damage that they sustain, they can heal back up. Misfits Premier, the damage that they deal, that sticks. Reckless has got some lifesteal from the Eclipse, but outside of that, there's nothing really to speak of. Gleaming Quills from Rakan are the best way that Karmine Corp can sustain, and that's really not reliable in terms of trying to get that health pull back. You can see 113 forced to go to the Gromp for some health instead of getting back to base, wants to stay at least a little bit out on the map. We do see that Saken pushing in that bot wave, wants to keep that bot tier 1 turret. Was curious if there was going to be a collapse to be found, but overall there's no overextension. And the Baron is actually, has been worn off, has got like 90 seconds until the next one spawns. Overall, Misfits Premier got a couple turrets mid lane, 1 turret top lane. In terms of what they were able to generate with that Baron, I think the Karmine Corp won't be too sad.
Yeah, no, they were able to hold out against the onslaught that was Misfits Premier with that Baron. Misfits Premier not able to get as much as you'd like. We spoke about how important it was for them to be able to get back to that middling point of the point of no return that we thought had already come for them earlier in the game. But not able to get as much as we would have liked them to, as you're saying, Rude Dude. Now it's a very equal game. It's anyone's game to win at this next team fight with all summoners available, pretty much one about that. This is going to be an explosive team fight. Everything is available. All the cards are on the table. Who will be dealt the winning hand?
And in terms of these engages, you need to keep your eyes on Huntera and 113. The engage tools for Misfits Premier are fairly situational at best. It relies a lot around Catchcos and his ability to utilize that Mega Narbar, set up around the objectives and slam people into walls. Karmine Corp, they can engage at the drop of a hat with a Jarvan plus Rakan combo. And Zara was looking a little bit aggressively there, does have that pillar, and that may well be the things that force Flash in an instance like this. But now Karmine Corp a little bit routed actually. 3 people topside, 2 on the split.
Well, here Zanzara's going to have an ultimate here. Catskos is getting putting it out by Cabashard. Cabashard, what can you do? He has to flash out. Yumi ult comes out from Misfits Premier. They found Cabashard in the side lane, and it's a worrying sign. Giant's got the package here. What will he be delivering? Will it be victory or defeat? It's a bullet time in response, and they've avoided the majority of it. But a rare misstep for this team. We see them. They need to capitalize on what they're being given here. It was almost disaster there. They were almost heralded in as the Shepherd of Fire. Karmine Corp were able to get their vengeance 7-fold, but they're going to be able to move towards this dragon now. Misfits Premier, although they got the pick, not going to be able to get the dragon, so to speak.
Could be Zanzara getting in there. No flash to get into the pit. Karmine Corp, they're not using Reckless here. They're not putting all of their eggs into this Drake basket. Saken can hop over the wall. But this Drake is not by any means forfeit.
Yeah, Chayek has Yumi on him. Over the wall is Chayek. Flash forward onto Katskos. They've got to burn so much onto him, but it's not going to do much. The wall wasn't able to do much. And Terra's going to get taken down after stasis, you presume. Woolite, he flashes forward to try and find something a bit over-aggressive, a bit overzealous, you might have suggested. But this is an Acolyte. This is the prophet of Misfits Premier. They might be able to find another kill. They do just about manage to do it. And if you are praying for Karmine Corp, Misfits Premier have come, and they have come iconoclastically at the Temple of Resurrection for Karmine Corp. They have burned down your statues, burned down your temples, and they will claw themselves way back in this game.
This game is sitting on a knife's edge. Just one fight feels like it could turn the tides, but every single time, it's not quite enough. It's just a little bit extra that nets more and more slight advantages to Misfits Premier. The second dragon that they've secured, another Hextech in their favour. Extra attack speed, extra cooldowns going their way. Slowly but slowly, the stacks are starting to come through for Misfits Premier, and the late game scaling is really going their way. The Ezreal starting to hit harder and harder. A third item comes through. The Corki now sitting at 3 items. Shadow Flame completed. Luden's Echo on the board. Muramana upgraded. These rockets are chunking your health bars. And Misfits are on the verge of performing the upset. They are so close, but they still need to knock down those final sets of dominoes. They're sat there waiting to be toppled over, but Karmine Corp are stalwart in their defense.
Over the wall now, going to be engaging Hantera with the quickness, but that pillar has done so much to dissuade the engage here. The Zir ultimate comes out, they are going to find Zanzara, a crucial pick to be found. Zanzara, what are you doing there? For potential bullet time from Reckless, they've got to be so careful with the EQs over the wall. It's not the position that Misfits Premier wanted for themselves. Got to buy some time here with this Azir melting the Baron so quickly. Expect this to go down at the drop rate of seconds here. Kaskos, it's an Ezreal that's done a lot of damage.
Reckless, no!
Gorky's found it! They found Reckless! It's Chayek! He gets an R on there. It's a lot of damage, and Terra can't find much. Gorky has been doing a lot of damage this game, but he's got to find something here. Shaken's in. Can they find him in response here? Chayek has the Yumi healing him. Woolite's come up massive. Woolite has come up torrential. It's a downpour of absolute drop weight here. Triple kill for Misfits Premier. Stasis for Misfits Premier. Chayek. And they find a team fight despite Zanzara going down so crucially early. They can just kite it out and kite it out. And Misfits Premier are doing the unthinkable.
It's so scary to start versus Misfits Premier team. They've got Ezreal, they've got Corki sat around the Baron and making sure that it's much more difficult than Karmine Corp would have ever imagined. A rare misstep from Reckless, ults in the face of a Corki with no setup, no team there. And Baron number 2 now goes to the Misfits Premier team. They are going to look to break open the base. They're going to look to start putting the final nails into this Karmine Corp coffin. A game that we'd written off at the start of the day. This would be the Karmine Corp sweep. It would be a really easy game for them to secure. And Misfits Premier have done anything but that. They have not allowed it to be the case. They are showing up huge. The early game dominance that Karmine Corp wanted to display was not enough. Now this late game Corki, late game Ezreal, 4 items completed, Eclipse ready for Woolite. He is ready to tear people asunder.
Tearing people asunder, burning down. Karmine Corp's chances with this Baron, it's so important. They build this lead 1-1-3 with the flash forward, but he misses. It's an uncharacteristic mistake from him, but he is going to get taken out. This is bad for Karmine Corp. This is terrible in terms of whether or not they can keep you found forward. Katskos flashes forward. They found Saken. You have been forsaken. And it's Shayek who goes forward now. It's 3 kills. And suddenly, at a drop of a hat, the entire stadium, 16,000 people, are silenced by Misfits Premier. An ace has been found. 32 minutes. Are you not entertained, LFL? As Misfits Premier, 1-5, 20% before this game, find their second win against the Titanic force. Karmine Corp with an entire stadium behind them, and they are routed, they are muted, and the game is done.
Misfits Premier, against all odds, secure themselves the win. Karmine Corp, the late game was never standing a chance as the Misfits team take them down nail by nail, inch by worked their way into the composition that Karmine Corp drafted for themselves. The late game always looked sketchy, but we never doubted them. We said, oh, it's Karmine Corp. This is exactly what they draft for. This is exactly how they look to play and how they look to win. But Misfits Premier came into the mid game, came into the late game, Corky and Ezreal ablaze, and said, not today. Today we will take you down, and we will reign supreme.
Hanging and aching, but not as much as the fans of Karmine Corp. Obviously, not a win that, or not a loss they would have been anticipating. It felt like they had all the right pieces going forward for this game. It's unfortunate